Let's start with number one, and this might actually annoy you. Buy index funds. I know it sounds boring. It sounds like something your dad would tell you, but here's why this matters more in your 20s than any other time in your life. Time is literally the most valuable thing you have right now, and you're probably wasting it. Let's say you invest $250 every month starting at age 23. If that money grows at around 10% annually, which is roughly what the stock market has averaged historically, you'll have about $1.4 million by the time you're 65. That's $250 a month turning into over $1 million. But if you wait until you're 33 to start that same investment, you'll end up with around $600,000 instead. Waiting just 10 years costs you $800,000. That's not a typo. That's just math being brutally honest about how compound interest works. The reason most people in their 20s don't invest is because they think they need to understand everything about the stock market first. You don't. Just open a Roth IRA, set up automatic monthly transfers into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund, and let it run. You don't need to pick individual stocks. You don't need to watch financial news. You just need to consistently put money in and leave it alone for decades. The beauty of this approach is that it's completely passive. You're not trying to time the market. You're not trying to find the next big stock. You're just consistently putting money into a diversified fund that tracks the overall market. And here's the thing that most people don't understand. Trying to beat the market almost never works. Even professional fund managers with teams of analysts and billions of dollars fail to consistently beat index funds over the long term. So why would you think you can do it? Just buy the index, automate your contributions, and forget about it.
Number two, buy skills, not degrees. And yes, there's a massive difference. Traditional college can be worth it if you're going into medicine, engineering, or something specific that actually requires that degree. But for most people, spending $100,000 on a generic degree is one of the worst financial decisions they'll ever make. Instead, invest in learning specific, valuable skills that the market actually pays for. Learn to code through online boot camps that cost a fraction of college tuition. Learn digital marketing, copywriting, video editing, or sales. These skills can earn you 6 figures without the crushing debt. A $500 online course that teaches you a marketable skill will change your life more than 4 years of lectures that leave you qualified for nothing. The people making real money in their 30s aren't the ones with the fanciest degrees. They're the ones who spent their 20s actually learning how to do things that other people will pay them for. Education is critical, but drowning in student loan debt for a piece of paper that doesn't guarantee you anything is just stupid. Think about it this way. Would you rather spend $100,000 on a degree that might help you get a job, or would you rather spend $5,000 learning skills that you can immediately use to start making money? The market doesn't care where you went to school. It cares about what you can actually do. If you can solve problems, create value, or provide services that people need, you'll make money. The piece of paper on your wall is irrelevant. And here's the other thing nobody talks about. Student loan debt doesn't just cost you money, it costs you freedom. When you have $50,000 or $100,000 in student loans, you can't take risks. You can't start that business. You can't take the lower-paying job that has better growth potential. You're stuck making minimum payments for the next 20 years. That's not freedom. That's a prison sentence.
Number 3, and this is going to seem counterintuitive, buy experiences, but do it strategically. I'm not telling you to blow your savings on bottle service and music festivals. I'm talking about investing in travel and experiences that actually expand your perspective and create opportunities. Traveling in your 20s isn't just about taking Instagram photos. It's about meeting people from different industries and backgrounds who might become business partners, mentors, or connections that open doors you didn't even know existed. It's about developing confidence and problem-solving skills by navigating unfamiliar situations. When you figure out how to navigate a foreign city, communicate across language barriers, and solve problems in completely unfamiliar environments, you develop a kind of self-reliance that serves you for the rest of your life. The smart way to do this is by maximizing credit card rewards. Get a good travel card, use it for your regular expenses, pay it off in full every month, and use the points for free flights and hotels. You're building your credit score while funding experiences that could change your entire trajectory. Just never, ever carry a balance. If you can't pay it off immediately, you can't afford it. Here's why this matters more than you think. The connections you make while traveling can completely change your career path. I've seen people meet future business partners on random trips. I've seen people discover career opportunities in cities they never would have considered. I've seen people develop perspectives and ideas that turned into successful businesses, all because they traveled strategically in their 20s. But again, this isn't about just booking random expensive vacations. This is about being intentional. Go to places that interest you. Attend conferences or events in your field. Stay in hostels or use Airbnb to meet locals and other travelers. The goal isn't to spend a lot of money. The goal is to expose yourself to new ideas, people, and opportunities.
Number 4, buy terrible transportation. Notice I didn't say buy a nice car. I said buy terrible transportation. This is probably the single biggest mistake I see people in their 20s make. They finance $35,000 cars to look successful while actually guaranteeing they'll stay broke for the next 7 years. Here's the reality. A car is not an investment. It's a depreciating liability that loses thousands of dollars in value the second you drive it off the lot. Every month you're making a $400 or $500 car payment is a month you're not investing that money. Over 30 years, a $500 monthly car payment invested at 8% returns equals over $700,000. That's what your nice car in your 20s actually costs you. Buy a 4 or 5-year-old Honda or Toyota for $12,000. Pay cash if possible. It'll run for another 150,000 miles if you maintain it, and it costs almost nothing to insure and repair. Yes, your friends might judge you. Who cares? They'll be making car payments into their 40s while you're financially free. Here's what people don't understand about cars. Nobody actually cares what you drive except you. Your friends might notice for about 5 seconds, and then they'll forget about it. But that car payment, that follows you around for 6 or 7 years. That's 6 or 7 years of not investing. That's 6 or 7 years of having less financial flexibility. That's 6 or 7 years of being tied to a job you might hate because you need to make the payment. And the worst part is, the car loses value the entire time. By the time you've paid it off, it's worth a fraction of what you paid for it. You've essentially been paying hundreds of dollars every month for something that's constantly becoming less valuable. That's the opposite of building wealth. When you eliminate car payments and invest that money instead, you're putting your money into something that grows rather than shrinks. That's the fundamental difference between people who build wealth and people who stay broke.
Number 5, buy your first property, even if you have to get creative about it. Real estate is one of the fastest ways to build wealth because you're using leverage. You put down 20% and control an asset worth 5 times that amount. Plus, if you rent part of it out, other people are literally paying your mortgage for you. If you can't afford a house in your area, consider house hacking. Buy a duplex, live in one unit, rent out the other. Buy a house with extra bedrooms and rent them to roommates. The goal is to reduce or eliminate your housing costs while building equity in an appreciating asset. Yes, being a landlord has challenges. Yes, it requires more work than just investing in index funds. But the wealth-building potential is enormous, especially if you start in your 20s. Think about what's happening when you house hack. Your tenants are paying your mortgage, which means you're living essentially for free, while building equity in a property that's likely appreciating in value. Meanwhile, your friends are paying rent and getting absolutely nothing in return except a place to sleep. Every rent payment they make is gone forever. Every mortgage payment you make builds equity that you can access later. And here's the really powerful part. Once you've paid down some equity in your first property, you can use that equity to buy your second property, then your third. Real estate investors call this scaling, and it's how people build serious wealth. But it all starts with that first property in your 20s. The earlier you start, the more time you have to let appreciation work in your favor, and the more properties you can potentially acquire over time. Yes, being a landlord has downsides. You'll deal with maintenance issues, you'll deal with difficult tenants sometimes, but the financial upside is worth it if you're willing to put in the work. And in your 20s, you probably have the time and energy to manage these challenges better than you will later in life.
Number 6, buy your health. And I mean actually invest in it. Most people in their 20s think they're invincible. So they eat garbage, sleep 4 hours a night, and never exercise. Then they wonder why they have no energy to work on their side business, or why they're constantly stressed and unfocused. Your health determines everything. How hard you can work, how long you can pursue your goals, whether you'll actually be around to enjoy the wealth you're building. This doesn't mean you need an expensive gym membership or a personal trainer. It means buying real food instead of living off energy drinks and takeout. It means prioritizing sleep. It means some form of regular movement. The hidden cost of poor health isn't just medical bills. It's the opportunity cost of not being able to operate at full capacity. If you're exhausted and stressed all the time, it doesn't matter how smart your financial strategy is. You won't have the energy to execute it. Plus, the habits you build now will follow you for decades. Start treating your body like it matters while you're young. Here's what people miss about health investments. They think of them as expenses when they're actually investments in your most important asset, which is yourself. When you're healthy, you think more clearly. You have more energy to work on your side projects. You're more productive at your job. You sleep better, which improves your decision-making. All of these things directly impact your ability to build wealth. And the habits you establish in your 20s tend to stick. If you develop the habit of exercising regularly, eating reasonably well, and getting enough sleep now, you'll probably continue doing those things for the rest of your life. But if you develop habits of eating junk food, staying up too late, and never exercising, those habits become incredibly hard to break later. Your 20s are when you set the trajectory for your physical health for the rest of your life. Don't waste that opportunity.
Number 7, buy a side hustle. And yes, starting a side hustle usually requires some upfront investment, whether it's buying equipment, paying for a website and hosting, purchasing tools, or investing in courses to learn the necessary skills. Successful side hustles rarely start for free. The beautiful thing about your 20s is that you probably don't have a mortgage, kids, or major financial obligations yet. You can take risks. If you fail, you can bounce back quickly. But if you succeed, you might never have to worry about money again. The key is building on your existing strengths instead of chasing whatever seems most profitable online. If you're good with technology, start there. If you understand cars, build something in that space. If you can create content, explore that direction. The point isn't to chase trends. The point is to create an additional income stream that could eventually replace your main job. Side hustles are powerful because they give you optionality. Even if your side hustle only makes you an extra $500 or $1,000 a month, that's money you can invest. That's money that gives you breathing room in your budget. That's money that means you don't have to stay in a job you hate just to pay the bills. And if your side hustle really takes off, it might become your main source of income, giving you complete control over your time and earning potential. The other benefit of side hustles is that they teach you business skills you'll never learn working for someone else. You learn how to find customers. You learn how to price your services. You learn how to manage your time and deliver results. These skills are valuable regardless of whether your side hustle succeeds or fails. And in your 20s, you have the energy and time to experiment with different ideas until you find something that works.
Here's what connects all 7 of these purchases. They require you to think completely differently than everyone around you. While your friends are financing new cars and spending every dollar they earn trying to look successful on social media, you're making boring, unsexy decisions that will pay off massively in 10 years. These purchases work together. Your side hustle gives you extra money to invest in index funds. Your cheap car means you're not wasting money on payments, freeing up capital for real estate investments. Your health gives you the energy to work on your side hustle while maintaining your regular job. Your strategic travel experiences create connections that help your side hustle grow. Your skill investments make your side hustle more valuable. Everything compounds together. This is the part most people miss. They think these are separate, unrelated decisions, but they're not. They're all part of a coherent strategy for building wealth while you're young. Each decision reinforces the others, creating momentum that accelerates over time. This is the real test. Can you handle being different? Can you drive the old car while your friends have new ones? Can you skip the expensive nights out to invest that money instead? Can you stay disciplined when everyone around you thinks you're being cheap or boring? The people who build real wealth aren't smarter than everyone else. They just developed better habits earlier and let compound interest do the work. The people who struggle financially usually make the same mistakes over and over because they optimize for looking successful right now instead of actually becoming successful over time. Your 20s are going to pass by no matter what. The only question is whether you'll look back at 30 sitting on a foundation that gives you real choices, or whether you'll be wondering where all the money went. These 7 purchases aren't just about building wealth. They're about building the kind of life where you wake up and decide what you want to do, instead of what you have to do to pay bills.
The hardest part isn't knowing what to do. The hardest part is actually doing it when everyone around you is doing the opposite. It's staying disciplined when your friends are posting pictures of their new cars and expensive vacations. It's being okay with looking less successful now so you can actually be successful later. That's the real challenge, and it's why most people never build wealth. They can't handle being different. If this changed how you think about money, hit that subscribe button. Your future self will thank you.